Hey everyone, Shannon here with Journey to Peace, and today I want to talk about visualization meditation. Have you ever heard of the phrase, neurons that fire together wire together? This simple phrase explains why we anxious types get triggered by different activities. And basically, how I've heard this explained is that our brains were designed to protect us. So back in our hunter-gatherer days, our brains were meant to identify a threat, send signals to our brain to either fight or flee. And that is how we survived as a species. For instance, if you were to be walking on a path and you look down to see what you thought was a snake, get scared and run away, even if 99% of the time it was actually a stick, your brain saved your life for that 1% of the time that it may have been a poisonous snake. So every time you saw that stick, a neuron would fire, and the fight or flight response would fire, and they would wire together. So that you would remember that anytime you saw something that resembled that threat in the future, your brain would remember to provide you with a surge of adrenaline to prepare your body to fight or flee. The only problem is that we don't necessarily need that strong of a response system anymore because we're not threatened nearly as much as we were in our hunter-gatherer days. I mean, unless you count the looming obligations of adulthood like tax season and having to worry about what the fuck a Roth IRA is. So, have you ever heard anyone tell you that you're just wired this way? That's their unintentional way of saying that your particular neurons have fired together over and over again until now, here we are. Put me in front of a stranger at a networking event and ask me to make small talk, and my heart will start to beat faster, my mind will start to race, and my breathing will become shallow. And this is because for years I have let the simple act of talking to strangers wire with the feelings of fear. Fear that they'll think I'm stupid, fear that they're a creep, fear that I'll be too vulnerable and then not be able to take it back. However, one of my absolute favorite semi-recent scientific discoveries is the idea of brain plasticity. Brain plasticity, also known as neuroplasticity, refers to the brain's ability to change. You heard that right. We are able to actually change the way our brain has been wired all these years. Now, we'll take practice. You can think of it like this. Think of a trickle of water that's been trickling down the same path for 30 years to the point where it has now become a stream that has made a huge divot in the earth and is now quite deep. Now you are wanting to change the course of this stream. It's not going to be easy, but it can be done. If we want to change the way our brain processes anxiety, all we have to do is understand what anxiety is. It's uncomfortable, we all know that, but it's not inherently bad. It's there to motivate us to avoid danger. Now, there is something called disordered, where it's when you feel that you're in danger, but you're actually safe. And when we're in those moments where we feel anxiety creep in, but we are actually safe, if we just sit with the feelings and experience them without doing anything, your brain will learn that that particular activity is not dangerous, which will lead to a gradual decrease of anxiety over time, and your brain will lay down new neural pathways around that particular experience. How fucking cool is that? What does this have to do with visualization meditation? I'm going to borrow a definition from Headspace and link the full article below if you want to check it out. The blurb explains it like this. The brain is a fan of visual stimuli. So during a visualization exercise, your amygdala, the tiny structure in the center of the brain responsible for that fight or flight response, has trouble distinguishing between something that's simply being seen during a visualization session and something that is actually happening in real time. And what this means is that when we visualize something, the neurons in our brains are able to actually interpret this as an equivalent to a real life action. Since the brain can constantly make new connections, visualizations can create changes in the brain's structure and neural circuits, which means we can actually rewire our brains to be a bit more calm and peaceful through visualizations. So with that said, I hope that you can find a little bit of peace and hope, like I have, in knowing that we can slowly, over time, start to change our brains. Just because we are overly anxious right now does not necessarily mean that we have to stay this way forever. Thank you as always for being here, and if you like the content, please make sure to click that red shiny subscribe button so that you can get updates on new videos that are posted. There's so much more to come, and I'm excited to share this journey with you. And if no one's told you today, I just want to let you know that I think that you're strong and beautiful, and you add something so special to this world, and I'm happy that you're here.